According to Stats SA figures that was released today, Honourable Deputy Speaker, South Africa's economy grew by 1.3% in the 2017 financial year. That gives us hope. Over the medium term, growth is forecast to recover and accelerate to 1.4% in 2018 and further accelerate to 1.9% in 2019. Agriculture and agro-processing contribute to combined 54 billion rand to the provincial gross value added, a measure of all goods and services provided by the agricultural sector. Of the province export, 52% comes from the agriculture and agro-processing sectors that Minister Winde is driving. The Western Cape has reported the lowest unemployment rate of 19.5% in South Africa. We have adopted at the cabinet level a fiscal strategy, fiscal consolidation, fiscal discipline, and fiscal sustainability will continue to underpin the Western Cape 2018 budget. Several fiscal and service delivery risks remain, such as the current drought in the water crisis, the growing demand for provincial government services, the reductions to departmental baselines, increase in the value-added tax, and uncertain outcome of the wage national negotiations. Funding held in the reserve for unforeseen and unavoidable expenditure, Honourable Deputy Speaker, amounts to 187 million in 2018, 197 million in 1920, and 208 million is set aside for unforeseen, unavoidable expenditure in 2020-2021. This budget for people is a direct response to the pleas from the ministers to protect the people, the citizens of the Western Cape. Allocations have therefore been made to sustain current services over the MTF, particularly in key frontline services in education, health and social development. And therefore, Honourable Deputy Speaker, I am pleased to announce that 362 million rand is provided for in 1819, 474 million in 1920, and 489 million in 2021 to manage the increased service load pressures and enable the Western Cape government to deliver on its frontline service delivery. I believe that the Minister of Health is very happy about that. Honourable Deputy Speaker, let me now turn to the water crisis. The worst drought in decades, and ensuring water crisis threatens not only the economic productivity of the province, but also the socio-economic development of our people. To mitigate the impact of the water crisis on the strategic government services and priorities, the Western Cape Provincial Government established a joint operations centre for the Provincial Disaster Centre to coordinate the provincial response. During the 2017-18 Justice estimates in this House, Honourable Members will recall that we have tabled a budget of 165 million rand was allocated in this current financial year and 157 million for the 18-19 financial year towards the drought response. These allocations are used for, amongst others, water resource infrastructure projects at schools, boreholes for health, social development facilities, additional water saving measures such as rainwater tanks, gutters, downpipes, as part of housing projects, drought relief, fodder for research, herds, the drought communication campaign and calls to provide drinking water to our rural communities. Honourable Deputy Speaker, and therefore I am pleased to announce that an additional 100 million rand has been set aside in this new financial year with the Provincial Revenue Fund towards the droughts and the pursuing water crisis. The national government has made available disaster relief grants for provinces and some of our municipalities here of 423.7 million in the 2017-18 financial year, Honourable Deputy Speaker, and 472 million rand in the 18-19 financial year, which can be rapidly released to assist in case of emergency. Honourable Deputy Speaker, if you calculate these numbers, it's about 422 million rand that this government has set aside to deal with this emergency in the context of the drought. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the National Treasury has also made available 6 billion rand to provide for provinces, the Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, Western Cape and the Free State that are currently affected by this drought. We are looking forward to see how this money will also find its way to the various provinces. Honourable Deputy Speaker, now let me turn to the budget spending plans and priorities for this financial year. 2018 budget supports economic development and infrastructure-led growth. The the provision of quality education and initiative towards advancing the youth, the wellness program, safety initiatives and good governance practices. The Department of Agriculture has received 2.6 billion rand over the 2018 MTEF. The department will continue to prioritize the support of agro-processing industry, which is well positioned to accelerate growth and sustain job creation. Agro-processing initiatives over the MTEF include continuing to promote South Africa halal products in strategically selected markets in the promotion of positioning the Western Cape as a halal hub. The Department of Economic Development and Tourism, absolutely certainly so, will invest in 173 million of its 1.3 billion rand MTEF budget on tourism promotion in the province. Over the 2018 MTEF, 83 million rand has been allocated to the green economy initiatives across the Western Cape. That an amount of 28.1 million has been set aside over the MTEF for skills development and the apprenticeship game changer. The Youth Access Program is a flagship project to be embarked upon over the 2018-19 MTEF in partnership with the City of Cape Town, the Business Process Enabling South Africa, which assists employers in the business process outsourcing sector to implement a work-integrated model for learners. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I am pleased to announce that 21.9 million has been allocated over the 2018 MTEF towards skills development in the agricultural sector. Honourable Deputy Speaker, this government has committed itself to infrastructure-led growth. And so I'm pleased to announce that the Department of Transport and Public Works Minister Donald Grant, his department will receive 23.5 billion rand over the 2018 MTEF for the delivery of public and economic infrastructure and related services that promote socio-economic outcomes and safe, empowered and connected communities. The Western Cape Education Department will receive 69.8 billion rand over the next 3 years. Efforts will continue to focus on improving the level of language and mathematics in all schools, increasing the number of quality passes in the National Senior Certificate, and increasing the quality of education provision in poorer communities. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the e-learning game changer focuses on improving digital infrastructure at schools. 2015-16, 6,400 smart classrooms have been installed, 910 ICT labs have been upgraded, and 28,808 learner devices have been delivered across the province. The Department of Health receives the biggest budget, 23 billion rand in 2018-19, 23.9 billion in 2019-20, and 25 billion rand in 2021 to improve health outcomes. Social development services for the poor and most vulnerable. The Department of Social Development will provide community and social welfare services to the most vulnerable in the province. Received 2.2 billion rand in 2018-19, 2.3 billion, Minister Fritz, in next year, 1920, and 2.5 billion in 2021. The Department of Human Settlements, Minister Madikizela, is allocated a budget of 7.3 billion rand over the MTEF and will focus on 3 key priority areas: upgrading of informal settlements, the provision of affordable gap housing opportunities, and prioritize the most deserving and subsidized housing. In 2018-19, the department aims to deliver 18,116 housing opportunities, of which 9,567 will be housing units and 8,693 will be for service sites. The Minister Madikizela has recently signed a memorandum of understanding with 5 financial institutions operating in the affordable housing market. These institutions include Absa Bank, First National Bank, Nedbank, Standard Bank and SA Home Loans. With the signing of the MOU, the parties pledged their commitment to accelerating the delivery of affordable housing in the Western Cape. The rollout of the broadband is supported through an earmark allocation, Honourable Deputy Speaker, of 956 million over the MTEF. Enhancing good governance, the Provincial Treasury over the MTEF will receive an allocation of 1 billion rand to deal with supporting enhanced good governance together with the Department of the Premier and the Department of Local Government. The Department will also continue to focus on its core business in terms of the PMFA and MFMA responsibilities whilst driving its good financial governance agenda. Within the Western Cape Government, all provincial public entities, Honourable Deputy Speaker, and 85% of departments received clean audits in 2016-17, with the remainder of the departments where the audit outcomes have been pronounced by the Auditor General received unqualified audits. Investment in infrastructure remains critical for improving access to quality services to the citizenry while supporting economic growth. Honourable Deputy Speaker, over the MTEF, 25.2 billion rand has been set aside and will be invested in infrastructure, with an additional 1.4 billion rand will be invested in the broadband, and 236 million rand will be set aside for private-public partnerships. Infrastructure investment and the maintenance thereof is critical for the promotion of job creation, broadening the economic base, and raising growth potential, unlocking economic opportunities, and addressing socio-economic needs and challenges. Honourable Deputy Speaker, let me now turn to the education infrastructure over the MTEF. Over the MTEF, 4.7 billion rand will be spent on education infrastructure. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I am pleased to announce that 14 new schools and 18 replacement schools will be delivered over the 2018-19 MTEF. This represents an estimated of 985 classrooms, as well as upgrades and additions to 6 schools. The Western Cape Education Department will facilitate a number of drought interventions over the 2018 MTEF, with 490 million rand allocated for the following interventions: procurement and installation of water storage tanks at all schools without water tanks, procurement and installation of fire extinguishers to ensure fire safety compliance at schools, testing of existing bowl water quality to implement recommendations on treatment procedures to utilize water effectively, and repairing bowls, investigation into the connection of water storage containers and alternative water sources to ablution facilities at all schools, installation of leak detectors at schools in high-risk municipalities and where high water consumption is evident. Over the 2018 MTEF, 2.5 billion rand will be invested in health infrastructure, which includes, amongst others, Groote Schuur Hospital, Tygerberg Hospital maintenance and upgrade, Observatory Forensic Pathology Laboratory, replacement of the Salt River Mortuary. I recall that the Minister has referred to this last year, replacement of the satellite clinics at Abbotsdale and Chatsworth New Avian Park Clinic at Worcester, upgrades and additions at Easter River Hospital. I'm particularly happy about that hospital. Somerset Hospital, Khayelitsha Hospital, Gansbaai Clinic, Laingsburg Clinic, and a new emergency and upgrade plant at Victoria Hospital and Somerset Hospital. The investment in road infrastructure, Minister Grant, amounts to 9.7 billion rand over the 2018 MTEF. In 2018-19, major road maintenance projects will include, Honourable Deputy Speaker, Salodis Pass to Gordons Bay, Hermanus to Gansbaai, Wingfield to Melkbos, Beaufort West to Willowmore. I see Honourable Member Dalen, Worcester to Aston, and from Aston to Swellendam, and I see the Honourable Mayor of Swellendam in the House. But Honourable Mayor, don't phone me tomorrow morning, because that amount of 40 million rand will only be made available in the outer year. Also, road construction in Nieuwekloof Pass, Klipwevel to Malmesbury, Rivier End to Stanford. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I am pleased to announce that an approximately 7.3 billion rand will be spent on housing opportunities over the 2018 MTEF. Key initiatives underway and to be rolled out over the MTEF include upgrading of 60 informal settlements, or 25,000 household yields with access to clean water, sanitation and electricity following the recent completion of an informal settlement support strategy. That funding for maintenance and repairs over the 2018 MTEF accounts for 5.28 billion rand of the total infrastructure project. Maintenance of health infrastructure is identified as a strategic priority for the Department of Health in the 2018 MTF with specific focus on Tygerberg and Groote Schuur hospitals. Some of the most noteworthy water-related projects currently being implemented by municipalities throughout the various districts include Eden, the upgrade of the water supply pipeline from Kleinbrak Water Treatment Works to Langeberg Reservoir in Mossel Bay, and for that they have budgeted 13.5 million. Cape Winelands, I see Claire Meyer in the House and the Deputy Mayor of Drakensberg, construction of bulk water supply reservoir at Dwars Rivier, and I also see the colleagues from Stellenbosch Municipality in that particular area. 19 million rand has been made available through the bulk water supply reservoir. Overberg, upgrades to pump station across the district, 5 million. I also see the West Coast refurbishment of the Bitterfontein water scheme, 10 million. Central Karoo expansion of the main pipeline in Beaufort West, 4.2 million. Honourable Deputy Speaker, in the City of Cape Town, 8 of the top 10 capital projects are currently directed towards water augmentation as part of the city's phased approach towards mitigating the risk associated with the drought. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the Western Cape additional adjusted estimates. The National Department of Human Settlements reallocated allocations amongst provinces for Human Settlement Development Grant. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I am pleased to announce that an additional 100 million rand has been reallocated from other provinces experiencing low spending to the Western Cape for the purpose of accelerating delivery of integrated sustainable human settlements in this province. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I am pleased that 57 million rand will be used for bulk infrastructure such as electricity and sewage reticulation in Forest Village and Biola CBD catalytic projects, while 43 million rand will be used with the assistance of the Housing Development Agency to purchase land for the further development of Imizamo Yetu project in Hout Bay.